Hello YouTube fans, here again. And I figure why not about do to see nowhere else. I've done all the base Boston, some I'm going to do probably a couple of channel trades, this being the first one, being to see nowhere else. Now as we all know, To See Nowhere Else was the first Bond book by Ian Fleming, not the first Bond film, we all know it's Doctor No. The first book that Ian Fleming did. And as you know, there's a lot of adaptations of See Nowhere Else. I mean, you've had in the 50s, you had a TV play, or a TV movie, whatever you want to call it, version of To See Nowhere Else. The less I talk about that, the better, because it's the most boring thing ever. If you're going into the TV from the 50s one, like the golden days of Sean Connery, shooting and acting in car chases, the Aston Martin, you're going to be disappointed because it's never at all like that. So when it says Sean Connery was the first actor, you could be wrong because there was an actor, an American actor, believe it or not, in a TV sort of film called To See Nowhere Else. Then in 1967, you had a comedy version, we all know it, Peter Sellers in To See Nowhere Else in 1967. The less I talk about that and all, the happier I'll be. So, I mean, let's talk about that as well, the happier I will be. But eventually, because of the bad publicity of Die Another Day, people said it bombed, and they decided to do their own sort of like reboot of James Bond. I'm going to go back into the old roots, so they decided to do the third sort of Casino Royale. Bruce Boston decided to call it a day, so they decided to look for another actor to play Bond, James Bond, that being Daniel Craig. So Daniel Craig was a British actor. He was in his 40s at the time when he took this role. And he took the wings of playing James Bond. And the rest is history. So, to be honest, I've never really read an Ian Fleming book, okay? I'm not that much mad on Ian Fleming. The only justice I've ever seen of the golden days of Bond would have been in the 60s with Sean Connery, and they'd have repeated them on TV, video, or DVD, or whatever the next technology is in the classic Bond films. I was more Wads and More because I remember watching them on the golden days of TV. Again, video, so they go on. And the unestimated Arthur George Lazenby or the unestimated Timothy Dalton. You know what I mean? So I never really read the book of Ian Fleming. I never that mad thinking, oh, let's read an Ian Fleming book. I know the history that the book was the very first book that Ian Fleming written was To See Nowhere Else. In all fairness, I could get love, I could get hate, but this is not one of my favourite films. I thought it was dull. I thought it was fucking boring. It's half an hour of him in the casino. Right, it's half an hour of Bond in a fucking casino. I've only seen it, what it reminds me of. What it reminds me of. There used to be whenever you couldn't find anything to put on TV, they used to put at really late at night, they used to put these people on playing card games and gambling and playing card games. And it sort of reminds me of that, only watching Bond do it. That's what it was like. That's what it's fucking like. Someone explained to me he's a big Ian Fleming book fan. It's the book I slightly like the film, but if an half an hour seeing Bond in a fucking casino playing cards. Yes, I know it was done in a lot of other films, but not all it was a fucking film. There's some good bits in it. I like the fact they put it in black and white. He has a fight with somebody in the toilet and he shoots out, the bullet flies out, that bloody thing comes out. And I do actually like the song. You know what I mean? It's been so many years since you had a male band sing to a Bond film. It's been so many years. So I've had it go now. I remember every do for you. They're gonna hurt you. Tino Vedel. And I do remember what's in this back in the day on the big screen. I actually saw this film in the cinema. I shit you not, I saw this film in the cinema. And it's one of them, I mean, if you're going into for action, it's there. Like, there's a bit where he's chasing someone, he gets the better, and he shoots him. And Daniel Craig's not the problem. It's not the problem, you know what I mean? He's doing it a different way. I can respect that. It's not trying to be enough of Connery or enough of Roger Moore. It's not trying to imitate Pierce Brosnan. He's playing Bond his own way, so I can respect that. I can respect it. So he gets his dirt on the way. He got an idea there's going to be a love interest. Some bits I thought was laughable. The bit where they have a car accident and it spins around. You want to see that done better? Let's see that done better. There's an horror movie called The First Power where a stuntman actually did that stunt with a car. None of this CGI shit. That looks better than the car chase. And he's got a few cuts, a few bruises, and that's it. There's a bit when he spikes his chink and you think he's going to be a goner, but then he manages to pump his heart and get himself going. And it has me wondering, well, why did they just do him cyanide? It's been used in a few other Bond films. Sort of did that, no more fucking Bond. But he gets out of dodge there. There's a bit where the bad people have got a lone sack and they cut this woman's arm off and Bond fights them. I do like the bit he's got blood though, he's got a few bruises. Bruises, it's not all fancy in this. They're now making Bond a bit more of a human. Again, it's to do with espionage and all that. I know it's Bond, but it's professional, it's not like the Pierce Boston ones with the fucking Daisy B and all that. So it's definitely bringing it back to the old roots. You don't see as many dab hits in it, and you know what I mean. There's no fucking R, which is sort of the same. But there's a few bits I do like the idea he falls in love with this woman. There's a bit where he gets tortured and he's going to get tortured, which I thought with them was like different. It's like unique for a Bond movie. You see Bond about to get tortured, but for some reason somebody comes in and shoots the baddie and then he gets saved. There's a bit of I thought, look, this shitty CGI where Fennis is getting blown up and it's rubbing about, shitty CGI. But I do admit this one, Bond jumps in the water and he's going to save, you think he's going to save the woman, but the woman drowns herself and kills herself because you find out she was working for the bad people. So I sort of like that little touch. You know what I mean, it's reminding me a bit of On Your Majesty's Secret Service. Like I said, the underestimated George Lazenby trying to rig. It's now it's like hard to watch this. We all know Tanner Rig is no longer with us. May she rest in peace. But it kind of reminds me of that where you think Bond's going to get the girl and the girl kills herself. I thought it was like different. You never saw that coming before. One like your typical Bond movies where the Bond gets the girl at the end. So I can respect that they're trying to do it a different route. And they're not trying to make it like every fucking Bond film. The baddies get killed or get defeated. Bond shags the bird. End of fucking movie. It's not like that. So I can give it a bit of leeway for that. So he's in hospital. Confronts him. He says the bitch is dead, meaning a woman, but you know he doesn't mean it. You know he's upset. Then you've got the main baddies, and then one gets shot in the leg. You forget what the fuck's going on here. He's moving about. Then you've got Daniel Day saying his lines. My name's Bond. James Bond. End of fucking movie. So to see though there though, it's not if you're going in. If I'm going in a bit for that, in like some of the old classic Bond movies, I will be disappointed. It's not that type of router. But in all fairness, I can respect it's going back into its old routers, like the olden days of Doctor No or from Russell Willow, when it was more, I would say, believable. Bond's never been believable. You're going into it for Secret Service and espionage and all that. There's always been a bit of fancy in there, but I say it's going back into a dark sort of a filler, like the first two Bond films were. They were fillers. So they're trying to make it more into a filler, you know, because of the down decess of Die Another Day. They're bringing it back to its old roots. There's bits where it's trying to be like in the 60s, but again, you can't go back into an era what we're not in anymore. Can't be done. So to disappoint people. Hey, I used to be a hippie, I used to have long hair. Those days have gone now. But I can also respect that it's trying to go back to its old roots. The bit where it's in the piscine, I felt it dragged a bit. Some of that in the pace in this was, you could have just done that. The bit where he spikes his drink and he manages to outbeat being poisoned. The bit where he gets battered, he kills his dies, gets attacked by a lone sack. Them bits were just pacing. It's professing that the do bring back Felix lighter in this, so I can't give it that. The do bring back Felix. Good old Felix. But other than that, seeing over there, I'll give it a 2-star rating. I'd say it's average. It's average, but Sandal Tade, for his first outing, he's not doing a bad job. I can take him or leave him, unlike some people. Kiss his ass, I think he's wonderful. He's professing this, he's making it dark. He's doing it very similar to how Timothy Dalton did it. Kind of pisses me off one way though. Timothy Dalton gets the boos, the whoos at Channel Tade. It's he's wonderful. But I can respect that Channel Tade is making it more faithful to the book. I can respect he's doing it a different way. But other than that, that's the scene where oh, what can I say? 2-star rating. I say it's average, but I can respect it. I can respect that it was trying to do something different. There you go. But until then, people, be smart, be safe. See you later.